Hi, I'm Edward Funk, and this is podcast number 78. And it's Loretta Young threatens to walk off a movie fighting with a producer. So it turns out the movie is The Farmer's Daughter, and we'll learn two podcasts ahead that she actually wins an Oscar, Best Actress Oscar for this film. Okay. The Farmer's Daughter was an RKO comedy with heavy doses of patriotism and politics intertwined. The story focused on a maid of Swedish descent who, while working in a congressman's home, decides to run for Congress on the opposition ticket. Joseph Cotton, Ethel Barrymore, and Charles Bickford co-starred. Now, Ruth Roberts, who was the sister of director George Sidney, and just a little bit about him, he did that wonderful movie, Miracle on 34th Street, with Maureen O'Hara. Anyway, so Ruth is his sister, and she had helped Ingrid Bergman lose her Swedish accent, and now she coached Loretta how to gain one. Loretta was feeling very proud of her accent and recalled her indignation when, halfway through production, the director, Henry Potter, said, "You know, I've been thinking about this thing, and I think it's time that you drop the accent. After all, your character, Katie, has been to night school." But Loretta replied, "Yes, but for 6 months. Why, if I hadn't always gone to American schools, if I had always gone to American schools, and I hadn't lost my accent by that time, I hit 25, I could be, still run for Congress. Why would I lose it in 6 months of night school?" Henry said to me, "Well, I feel you should lose it." I said, "Well, the people will say that Loretta forgot her accent." We went back and forth, and finally I said, "You better get Dory Sherry." He's the producer, not just for that film, but he's running RKO Studios at this point. And get Dory down here to settle this. It seems we can't. Henry and I continued our argument, and Dory finally said, "Loretta, I think your accent is charming, but if it bothers Henry that much, do you think you could just lighten it a little?" I looked at him and I said, "No. If you want to, Dory, you can recast." It was about 4 o'clock in the afternoon by this time, and Dory said, "Well, it's late. Why don't we all go home?" I said, "I'm going home, but I'll see you in the morning with the accent, so prepare yourself." We went back to the set the next day, and I must say, Henry never mentioned it again. Now, Dory used to come on the set every day after viewing the rushes from the day before. About 4 or 5 days after we had this lose the accent incident, he said, "Come here, I want to tell you something. You just keep going the way you are, and you're going to get an Academy nomination. You may not get the award, but you're going to get a nomination. Don't let anything rock your boat." I said, "Fine, I won't." I just thought this was a little pep talk to make me feel better. I had a miscarriage during the shooting of that picture, and they had to close the picture for 10 days because I was practically in every scene. When we came back, we were working on location at an auditorium called the Ebell Club on Worcester Boulevard, and we had our portable dressing rooms outside in the alley next to the theater. Now, mine was first in line. They do it by casts: the star, then the leading man, then the character people, and so on. So when I got out of the car and was walking to my dressing room, Ethel Barrymore was standing there, and she walked over to me very slowly and said, "My dear child, you've been through a great deal. You must rest now as much as possible. I'm going to put my chair right here in front of your dressing room door, and nobody will get by me unless it's vitally important." I said, "Oh, wouldn't that be marvelous?" Boy, for 3 days we were down there and nobody bothered me. I would hear her say, "Oh, don't disturb her. She's working so hard and she needs her rest." A PS to this anecdote was that Ethel Barrymore was listening to baseball games on the radio. Wow, She was standing guard of Loretta's trailer dressing room. Now, the farm location shooting took about 2 weeks and was done on a real farm near Petaluma, California, north of San Francisco. Loretta recalled 11-year-old Judy coming for a weekend. That's Loretta's daughter. She traveled on the train by herself, and I picked her up in San Francisco. She had a ball. No wonder. Loretta's idea of roughing it on location was staying in the suite at the Fairmont Hotel in San Francisco. Loretta bleached her hair to play Katie. Here in her voice, elaborating on the repercussions. Now, when the picture was finished, my studio hairdresser advised me, let this grow back, don't dye it back. I said, well, I can't go out of the house looking like this. She said, you have to. I walked around town for about a month and I couldn't stand it. So I went to some beauty shop and I asked them to dye my hair brown. They did, and of course it looked just like I had a hat on, so it was all one color. 1 second, please. Then I was walking down the street of Beverly Hills on one day, and in the window I saw myself, and I thought, oh my God, I've got to do something about this hair. I spotted a beauty shop about 3 doors down and went in. Now, this poor hair of mine had been so mistreated that when the woman got it all up in these little tiny permanent things and turned the heat on, all of a sudden, I saw the look of panic in her face. The man in the place came tearing over to me and switched something off. My hair was falling out, and I had a big hole in the back of my head. The man was shaking so, he was so scared, I was going to sue him and make a big fuss. I said, well, because they knew who she was, movie star. So I said, look, it's not your fault. My hair has been bleached until they couldn't bleach it anymore, and then I had dyed it back. I neglected to tell the operator, so don't worry about it. I walked around with a kind of turban on for about 2 or 3 weeks. And sure enough, little by little, my hair just fell out. I lost a lot of it. Then it started to grow back, strong and shiny. Now, the next podcast will shine a light on how cruel Tom Lewis was to his stepdaughter, Judy. It will identify the moment when Loretta discovered that her husband really didn't like her. What he said was she was a lousy wife and she was a lousy, but he overheard this. She overheard this. So anyway, you'll get all the details in podcast 79. Thank you.